Okay guys, here we are, 2000 Chevy Silverado. 99.9% sure my fuel pump is dead, but some ways to check and verify that is to connect, I don't know if you can see this, a fuel pressure gauge. Now before you go buy one of these, I highly recommend you go to your local parts store, wherever you get your car parts. Mine's, I'll just give them a plug, is O'Reilly's. It used to be Checkers. I'm an old Checkers guy, but O'Reilly's bought Checkers out. But what they'll do is they'll essentially rent you this test kit. You pay them for it, or put a deposit down on it, and use it and return it, and they give you your money back. And that's just to foster good business for you to go buy parts from them. But anyway, you see this Vortec cover. It has two bolts. There's one here and then one further back over there. But I've already pre-loosened those. Once you loosen them up, you just lift this up out of the way. Easier said than done. There we go. Just give it a good pull. Kind of pull it to the right as you go. And what you're going to do is you're going to connect this pressure gauge to what they call a Schrader valve. It's hard to see in, here it is. It's this thing here. All a Schrader valve is if you've ever, let me take this cap off. It's just like a tire valve. It has a cap on it. Just set the cap aside. And if you look real close, you can see it's just, it's like a big tire valve, like you air up your tires. So anyway, that's the, it's called a Schrader valve, and that's what we're going to connect this fuel pressure tester to. And so let's go back to the pressure tester box. You open it up. I can't see a darn thing out here, it's so bright. I hope you can see what I got here. But this is it. These are the components. Kind of basically tell you what there is. Some instructions. And here's the gauge. So let me set the gauge over here and we'll go to the end of this. This is the connector. You just twist that on, and that little plunger there activates the Schrader valve. So before you connect that though, what you're going to want to do, let me get over here where I can reach it better. You're going to want to get a rag or paper towel or something and put underneath this, because when you put an air check up to a tire and start to air it up, what happens? Air comes bursting out. Well, the same thing could happen here, because this fuel is hopefully, when it's working, under pressure. So when you connect that Schrader valve, you have a high potential for fuel to come squirting out. So you want to have something to absorb that. So you take this Schrader valve, it twists, and you just go and line it up and just tighten it on there. You just do it hand tight, and as you can see, just a little bit of fuel came out. Another indicator that my pump is weak. Not a lot of pressure there. You just hand tighten it, and then that line just connects up to the valve. Here, let me grab this a little bit closer, because there's two lines on this. I need to show you what they are. So the black line, of course, is our pressure line that goes to the Schrader valve. And then we got a gauge here. This is in PSI, and this pump on my application should be anywhere between 50 and 55 PSI if it's working correctly. Also, we have what they call a pressure relief valve, because once you have pressure on this gauge and you want to retest, again, you want to relieve all the pressure, and you do that by pushing that. And what that does, here, let me set this down. It purges all the fuel that's in that line into this clear tube, and you would want to collect that into some sort of a catch, whether it's a bucket or your drain pan that you use to change your oil in your car with, something, so it doesn't just get into something hot or get on your clothes or on you. You want to keep it and protect the environment. So there you go. There's a pressure tester, and that's all there is to it. You just connect it to the Schrader valve, hand tight, and to test your fuel pump, I'm going to do another video on that, but I'll just tell you now, is once that's on there, you activate your pump. And the way you do that on the Chevy pickup of this application is you just turn your ignition on. Don't start it, just turn it on. And that gauge will rise if there's any fuel pump activity taking place. Do that for a few seconds, turn it back off, turn it on. 10 seconds, turn it off. You want to do that about 3 times. Cycle that on and off about 3 times to get a good accurate reading of what your pump is. If there's 20 psi or more, there's enough to start your vehicle, so you might want to try to do that. Make sure your gauge and lines and everything are out of the way and the rag isn't going to get caught into the fan belts and stuff. But just start your motor, your engine, and see if that pressure is maintained. If your pump is bad, like the application I have here, and we'll show that in a bit, that pump pressure will drop from wherever it's at eventually to 0 or less than 10, and then your vehicle can't run no more. And like I said, this application should have 50 to 55 psi, and we'll check that and see where we stand. Anyway, that's how you connect the fuel pressure gauge. And when you're done, you just do the reverse. I'll go ahead and do that now. You just unscrew this, and it's like a tire valve. You got more fuel coming out. It's like a tire valve. It self-seals. Go ahead and grab your cap that you set aside and put it back on. And that one's plastic, so you don't want to over tighten that one for sure. But that's it. That's how you connect your fuel pressure gauge, and that's how you use it. And like I said, if you can go rent one somewhere, I'd do that before I buy them, because this one here was a list price of over $200. And they just, whatever they're charging me for rent, I get 100% refund. And where am I going to buy my pump? I'm going to buy it from them because they've helped me out. So that's the reason why they do that. So I'd look around to the parts stores and see if they have a equipment loan or rental program, and don't buy if you don't have to. Because if you don't do these every day, you don't need one. And you don't need to buy one. Anyway, we'll see you soon.